Welcome back to Access Minnesota. We're talking with Jeannie Seeley-Smith, Executive Director of Perspectives, Inc. And Jeannie, before the break, we were talking a bit about the supportive housing program. Tell us more about that and what exactly is supportive housing?
Well, that's my favorite subject to talk about, is supportive housing, because in our society, we know where the major sources of expenses are in those emergency services. So that's shelter. You know, the shelters are not cost efficient at all, and they even though they move people out, it can be a revolving door. So what McKinney-Vento out of HUD, 20-some years ago, created a pot of dollars for what's called supportive housing, where the concept was that if we could take homeless and put them into a home where they could stay for 2 years, not just move them out at 6 o'clock in the morning, but that where we could stay them, and then provide support services around them. How successful would we be, and how cost efficient would that be? Well, that's been proven to be very cost efficient. I mean, we can house a family and provide support services for like $14,000 compared to thousands of dollars in shelter, and keep them out of emergency services like medical facilities and detox services, because we have so much support around them. So the supportive housing actually is support for a person to be able to get back on their feet and re-enter social and economic mainstream. And the services that are provided around them is where we have a manager, a resident manager that lives in a building. So we have 5 of those, and so we have 24/7 supervision of our residents, and backup and support for them in the middle of the night or whatever. We have all kinds of what's called case management, is someone that is meeting with this resident, weekly to go over their plan. Okay, now it's not necessarily a treatment plan, but it is a life plan. So where are your goals, and what can you do, and what are your skills, and what are your resources? So it's a mentoring program, and we've known that some of our most successful youth programs have been around the positive effect of somebody who is has really gotten their life together and has been there, and then can coach you on how you can do that. So that's supportive housing, and it's been very cost efficient to our society, and very, very successful, especially when someone can stay for a while. It takes a while. You can imagine when you have had your whole life blown apart, how long it's going to take to put those pieces back together. So 2 years is the average stay of our resident. And then from what we call transitional, and there's different on the continuum of supportive housing, it's called transitional, and then permanent. And they know that permanent is really where all the programs need to be, so that someone can come and stay, and until they don't need a program anymore, they don't need a support, and then just their own will moves them out, but they feel ready. So that's, I love to talk about it, because I just think very few people know about supportive housing. They hear about the shelter, and they hear about affordable housing, which is where our residents will move to, is affordable housing, which is hard to find. But that's it's so cost efficient, and it has had so much research on how well it does. So I like to get the word out on that.
We know that children in a family where an adult has a chemical dependency are in a really tough spot. Sometimes they have to become almost little adults themselves to help compensate for what the adult can't do. Tell us how you work with the kids, and how do you help rebuild the traditional parental child relationship in a stressful situation like this? That is the challenge, because, and you're exactly right, the children have really been the parent of that mom, for a long time. And so now when mom can, she gets her act together and she's sober and she wants to parent again, that's when we see all the rebellion with the kids, and that's when I was telling you at the beginning, we thought we were going to have Little House on the Prairie, but all of a sudden the kids are saying it's my turn. So, when we first got them and we started our program, we would have 12-year-olds, stealing cars, or truant, or runaway, or smoking pot. So that was, we needed to get that mom involved as feeling as a good parent again. And so we have a lot of parenting classes. We have the case management of that family, works with both the mother and the child. There's counseling for the children. Just bringing the kids into a really positive environment of our Kids Connection program.
I mean, every day after school, they know the same people are going to be there every day. You know, Chef Dan is going to be there, and you know, and Miss Key is going to be there, and George Bickham, you know, their great teacher is going to be there, and Mimi Casey is going to be there. So they love that they're going to be there, and they know what to expect. And these are kids who, you know, never knew what to expect. You know, they come home and mom might be there or not, or, you know, awful people in the house and people drunk. So just to provide that security does a lot for that child. And so we create that environment, and then working with the mom to get her self-esteem built again so that she can be a good mom. It's all part of the program. And it takes time.
With these tough economic times, are you seeing a greater demand for your services?
Well, we are, and I think the people that we are seeing are in worse shape. You know, they have, years before when we were working, we saw a lot of people who would come to us whose luck had been bad, and they didn't have so far down to go before they really hit bottom. We're seeing them coming from years and years of you know, addiction and poverty, and going from one homeless shelter to another. So in a sense, that population has always been there, and maybe more people are falling into it because of, you know, we're going to probably see more. We've always had much more demand than what we can meet. You know, we need a supportive housing program in probably every community. You know, it's people are, you know, in so much need. But no, we are seeing kind of a different clientele. Drug use is worse. You know, it's heroin and it's meth and, you know, cocaine. And before we were dealing with alcohol. It's all bad, but it's, yeah, the ramifications of an illegal drug. You know, we have women coming to us now who have felony convictions, and that's a bleak place to be in our society. You know, people won't rent to you. You can't get you know, you can't get loans for school, and it's kind of, it's, you know, a real, there's a real mark on you when you are a felon. So we're working with that, trying to figure out how we can get people to support us that this life has changed, and that there is hope for this person, and rehabilitation is, you know, is alive and well.
Let's talk a bit about the future of Perspectives. The tough economic times, they're hard not only on your clients, but on your organization as a nonprofit. How is Perspectives faring during this economic downturn? Are you seeing fewer donations? Tell us about that.
Well, we could have a very good year, you know, and we went in thinking we had this premise that the people who have resources are going to be a little bit freer with those. I think the people who have employment, and that they have, not everyone has maybe as much as what they used to have, you know, with the stock market, but in their portfolios, but what they have, I think they're more willing to share. And we're seeing a tremendous growth in volunteerism, and in the money and the donations have been there. Our last golf tournament was bigger and more successful than it was last year, and we have a big fundraiser on September 25th at the Grave 601, and we're seeing, you know, great participation in that, and we anticipate meeting our goals. We have almost met our goal this year for what our budget was, and that has come from, you know, just foundations who can give more, have given more, people who can give more are giving more. It's just, everybody feels thankful. If you have a job and you have a little extra money, it's going to go for someone who doesn't.
Now, if people would like to volunteer with Perspectives or offer financial support, how can they do that, and where can they get more information about Perspectives?
Well, our website, do you have that up?
We will put that up, absolutely.
Our website has all of that information, how to donate, has our fundraiser, it has the volunteer program there. You can click on that. There's an application, and people will get right back with you on any questions. So we're very active in working with our community, with anyone who wants to volunteer, donate to us, has any resources, has any auction item that, you know, we have now more people saying, I have a condo, I'm going to donate it this year. You know, it's in the, you know, it's in the Caribbean, or it's, you know, it's in Florida, or a great spot. So there's just a lot of people who want to help those less fortunate.
Jeannie Seeley-Smith, Executive Director of Perspectives, Inc. Thanks so much for joining us on Access Minnesota.
Well, thank you for asking me. Thank you.
When Access Minnesota returns, we'll hit the water with the University of Minnesota rowing team and learn more about Minnesota snakes at the U's Bell Museum.